Good morning for 99.5 FM, AM 1340 WGRV. I'm Reid Seals, and I'm here with Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison for our monthly interview. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Reid.
First thing, explain the need for a new contract for solid waste.
Well, the solid waste contract expires December 31st. And, of course, like any other contract, it runs through a period of time, and our time is up. And we've been trying to negotiate over the course of the last few months a new contract with Waste Industries, or now GFL, out of Lowland, Morristown. And I know Brad Peters, the Public Works Director, and Todd Smith, the City Administrator, this is one of our joint ventures, and the City of Greenville is the administrating or principal agent in that. We had to put out for bids the operation of our landfill, which only takes like construction type waste, as well as the transfer station, which we bring garbage to the transfer station, and this is class 1 garbage, so this is like regular household garbage that you would throw away at the convenience centers, and then that gets loaded onto tractor trailers, covered, and shipped to the landfill at Lowland Morristown at exit 12. And then there's obviously a cost to landfill that as well. So that contract covers those three areas: the area of operation of our landfill here for demolition waste, the operation of the transfer station, and then the disposal of our waste at the landfill at Lowland Morristown. So because that contract has to be in place, or at least some semblance of a contract has to be in place by the end of this month, the county commission saw fit to give me, to negotiate on the county's behalf, the ability to negotiate a contract to do all of this stuff so that we can get something more permanent in place. We knew, for instance, with our solid waste operation, which is one of the reasons that we've not affected the convenience centers or the convenience center hours at all, is there was going to be an additional or added cost to that. We had originally negotiated a 5-year contract, but we thought as a group that it might be more beneficial to go back and see if we could negotiate a longer contract, somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 10 years, spread out that cost or those increases a little bit more, so that we would have the money to be able to absorb those costs with very maybe modest increases at the landfill itself if you happen to go out there individually. So that's where we are with that. It looks like it's going to take somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000 to $75,000 over the course of the contract annually to renegotiate and go forward and throw away our garbage. And that's going to be in addition to anything that we might change at the convenience centers, for instance, adding hours. Obviously, that's going to add to payroll and truck transportation costs and that sort of thing. So we're looking at all of that before we sort of go off the deep end and make a decision as to what we're going to do with the convenience centers. We hope to expand those hours, make it a little more convenient, particularly for the people that do shift work, that go to work early in the morning. So it's a work in progress right now, but they give me the authorization to negotiate on the county's behalf for that contract.
And what is the process behind making a road an official Greene County road, as one was added by the commission on Monday?
Well, there's certain standards that the roads, in order to be added to the official Greene County road list, have to come up to, particularly for subdivisions, any type of subdivisions. They have to meet certain requirements that the road superintendent inspects in terms of layers of aggregate material, topping, drainage, and so forth, and curbing, that sort of thing. Anybody, for instance, that lives in a newly developed subdivision over the course of the last few years knows that since the Planning Commission changed the rules on subdivisions and roads, and one of the reasons we did that was there was an inordinate amount of roads being added to the county road list at one time, and this is years ago, that the county would end up having to maintain. So we wanted to make sure, the government at the time wanted to make sure that if we were going to adopt those roads and maintain them for the future, that they were built in a manner that would sustain heavy truck traffic and be viable roads that we could be proud of and relatively maintenance free for a period of time.
And can you explain the TennCare Reimbursement to Ground Ambulance Drivers resolution?
Yeah, the TASA organization, or the Tennessee Ambulance Services Association, essentially wants a more unified effort, if you will, for reimbursal for transport of Medicaid or TennCare patients to hospitals and whatnot. The reimbursement rate is much different, for instance, than it is with Medicare patients. Private insurance patients obviously don't sort of come into this picture because private insurance reimburses the ambulances for the cost. But Medicaid, for a period of time, TennCare has been really substandard in this area. So what TAS is asking is that there be a unified effort across the entire state of Tennessee, from the ambulance authorities or the EMS districts across the state, to request that the state legislature and the federal government consider raising the reimbursement rate for ambulance trips for TennCare or Medicaid patients to the level of Medicare patients. So Medicare pays a lot more, the reimbursable rate for the federal rate's a lot more, and we're just asking that that TennCare or Medicaid follow suit.
Tell me about the census in 2020 and how people can get involved.
Well, I guess this is my opportunity to put in a shameless plug for the census for 2020. It's rather prophetic, I guess, Reid, that as we enter into the Christmas season, that the Christmas season started so many years ago with the order from Caesar to conduct a census. And every 10 years, obviously, we here in the United States conduct a census. And 2020 is our year, and April 1st of 2020 is Census Day. We heard from the Census Bureau at the County Commission meeting that they were in need of 535 enumerators for Greene County, and that so far we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 187, or about 35%. So we're needing to recruit people to work in the census here in Greene County, and the reason that's important is that the Census Bureau recruits people all across the state and the nation to work the census, and a lot of these more larger metropolitan areas are able to recruit more people, and they will send those folks, if Greene County hasn't met our quota for census workers, to our area. The problem with that is that those dollars are going to people in Knoxville or Asheville or other larger sort of metropolitan places, and I would certainly like to see that the people here in Greene County get the very first opportunity to earn money and work for the census. So if anybody out there is interested in working for the census, in being, they don't call it an enumerator now, but it's the enumerator positions that would go around to the different households and organizations, helping to count people and making sure we have an accurate count. But here in Greene County, they're paying $15 an hour and 58 cents a mile for any travel that's done. There's actually a website that you can go to, and that website is 2020census.gov/jobs, or you can call a 1-855 number, and that number is 1-855-JOB 2020 1-855-JOB 2020 if they would like to join the census. So we're looking forward. This is very important to Greene County. Can't reinforce enough what these numbers and the most accurate count that we can get for Greene County means to our economic development. A lot of prospective business and industry, restaurants and retail coming into the area will look within a certain geographic area how many people are inside this particular circle or zone, and they make their decisions to come to our community based on those numbers. So the more accurate count that we have, the better shot we have at landing something like that. Federal and state dollars, lots of times, are all doled out, as it may be, by the census numbers. How many people our particular community, our particular county, our particular city has. So the census is very, very important. So we ask again that if you're looking for a job, that you go to that website that I gave, the number that I gave, sign up. It will start in earnest after Christmas at $15 an hour and 58 cents a mile. You have to be 18 years old and a U.S. citizen in order to participate, but we're looking forward to the census.
And we'll finish up today with you telling me about this month's Employees of the Month.
Well, we had two gentlemen from EMS. This is a program that I'm very proud of, that we started a few months ago and implemented to recognize employees that go outside of their job descriptions and duties, that do extraordinary things for us. In nearly every department, we've got folks that are working around the clock, working in all manners of weather, doing all manners of things that really go unnoticed lots of times by our people, and we just take for granted some of these folks. But Jordy Clark and Josh Rodriguez from EMS were out at the Laughlin campus of Greenville Community Hospital and saw a helicopter land and the air crew struggling to get heavy neonatal intensive care equipment off of that aircraft. Without hesitation, they proactively took the cot out of the ambulance, went over to the helipad, assisted the air crew with this equipment, not knowing really that inside the hospital at that very moment there was an emergency going on with a neonatal infant that needed to be transported to the hospital in Johnson City. They actually stayed with that patient to help stabilize the patient, load the patient back on the waiting aircraft, helped Laughlin Hospital, Community Hospital East personnel with the infant as well. They received praise from the NICU at Niswonger Hospital. It's just a great program. They went out of their way. They didn't have to, in a proactive type situation, and possibly save this infant's life, or at least help to save it. And we want to recognize our employees when they do special things like that. And we've already done so with a couple of folks from the highway department that actually stayed or got a lady out of a house that was burning. We recognized an employee down at the Sessions Court for going above and beyond her job description and duties to help people sort of reconstruct their lives, get the counseling they need. And who knows whether or not, for instance, and that's not part of their sort of daily duties. And but we've got great people doing great things. We give them we had made a 3-inch medallion that has the county seal on it on one side, and on the reverse it has a facade of the courthouse. It's very beautiful. It's and they also get 8 hours of comp time or paid time for being recognized that way. We have the Personnel Policy Committee that actually sort of vets the submissions. Anybody can submit one of our employees. The ones that have come most often have come from department heads or elected officials, bringing to the attention these special people, because we can't be everywhere all at once and see all of these great things going on. But I think it's good for the people of Greene County to know that at every department, the Sheriff's Department, EMS, Highway, the court system, at the annex, we've got people doing great things every day. And, they exist to serve you. They're, as a general rule, very enthusiastic to do so. I see them stay there late at night lots of times. I see them come in very early in the morning, and just proud of each and every one of them. And that's something to do and celebrate at least this Christmas season. So would like to say, lastly, Reid, to the people listening Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and thank you.
That was Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison for our monthly interview here on AM 1340 and 99.5 WGRV. I'm Reid Seals.